Steve, this is your second annual report. Is there anything that, if you're asking people to go to one particular page, what would you want people to see and what highlight?
I think the thing we'd want to point out is actually there have been things we've achieved over the year. We have been able to influence some changes, but it's not been as easy as we'd like. And that's the main thing I'd want really people to pick up on. You know, we were criticised before that Link didn't seem to have done much, and I think at the time it was an understandable feeling. But we have looked at getting changes in the hospital. We've looked at getting changes to a local GP surgery that people can't get to easily. We're working quite closely with the council in terms of changes to the way in which social care is administered. So there are things going on, but nothing really that we could say, here's a big thing we've done. A lot of it is still an ongoing process.
So talking about small things and big things, small things for example but significant, as you said with the medical centre in Quebec Road and addressing, how does that process start with you regarding, is it lack of a step? And things like that?
The issue with Quebec Road was there's no drop curb into the centre, so if you're coming along from Calcutta Road, then you have to sort of go quite a long way in the road in order to get to the surgery, which we felt for wheelchair users really is quite unacceptable. We've talked to the council about that, we talked to the Primary Care Trust, and everyone said, oh no, it's down to the council. We went and did a site visit, took an access auditor along with us to look at the situation and put together some quite firm recommendations as to how we really thought the council should address it. They didn't respond adequately, and so we reminded them of our legal powers and took the matter up to the Overview and Scrutiny Committee.
And speaking of overview and scrutiny, you do seem, from an outsider's point of view, to seem to have some cachet now. When Mr Whittle appeared in the council chamber, and you had quite a considerable presence there. In fact, you were asking a question about something which nobody replied to. Yeah. So you must be pleased at having that presence.
That's been really good, and to pick it up on that instant, yes, we did report back in January that we'd issued them the legal 20-day letter that they had to respond to, and there wasn't a response. We had that information through a few months ago, so that sort of issue is being resolved, which is really good, and relationships are building. I think in the past we'd have quite happily said, no, the relationship with the hospital is quite strained, but we've actually managed to have quite a few really good conversations now with Alan Whittle and with other executives at the hospital to build a relationship, to try and improve the way things are going, to get public opinion fed in and out of there. And the presence in HOSC at the committee meetings, to actually be a part of that, and also chairing their task and finish group now that's looking at the progress made in the hospital.
Sometimes I look on the page involvement of stakeholders, and it says a bit where it says also directly involve a number of committees and boards. There's a lot of committees and boards around, isn't there?
Oh no, it's great fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Is that the type of thing you think the Conservative Lib Dem coalition are going to try and prune?
It's really hard at the moment to know where it's going to go. There certainly seems a real liking for committees and boards for different things at the moment. And one of the challenges we have is just deciding where it's worth investing our time really in doing those. Some of them have been more worthwhile than others. But there's a lot of issues in terms of where is it going to go, what is going to happen. Our funding's secured until April next year, and after that we don't know if we'll exist still in any shape or form, whether we'll have more powers, less powers, or be dissolved completely.
Well, what would you say over the last year, sort of an interview question, what you're most pleased with, your achievement you're most pleased with?
My best achievement in the last year, got to be the annual report really, hasn't it, and the pretty pictures on the front. I think the thing that's been really good is we've been able to make a real difference in some of the discussions around community equipment. Social services are looking at changing the way in which equipment is issued, and through our presence on their various meetings and committees we've been able to actually challenge some of the things they've been talking about. So is this really the best thing for the service user? Have you really thought through the implications? And those comments have been heard and they have been acted upon. So we're confident now that this process as it goes forward really is going to include the concerns and the views of the local people. And
with the council changing last week, a new portfolio holder, your previous portfolio holder would have been?
It was Amanda Arnold. Yeah.
And she's a hard act to follow for Tony Fish.
Absolutely, yeah. We had a really good working relationship with Councillor Arnold, met with her quite regularly. Another big thing that we managed to achieve, which personally I'm quite pleased about, is the introduction of disabled parent protocols in the council, as we're one of the local authorities that doesn't have any at the moment. But hopefully, we will continue to work closely with Tony Fish. someone that I've worked with on and off for a while, and we've got a reasonable relationship. And I really hope that will continue. That we'll continue to have that involvement with the council right the way through.
Great.